we already talked about how complex today's systems are, how many parts are already in that system. And now, everyone is aware that AI is coming up and everything on paper will be greater and better and easier to do. But aren't we in the position that with these approaches like AI agents or systems that are designed and created by an AI, we are getting even in a more complex world?
Yeah, it's actually, there's a very interesting paper that was written in 1978, I think, by Longbridge or something like that, called The Irony of Automation. And I think it really applies today. It basically states that the more automated the systems, the more specialized people need to be to actually recover those systems. Because, of course, you have this separation between abstractions and how the system works. And if you only work at the abstractions, you don't have the knowledge of how to recover the system. So you need to basically have eventually people, because it's always at the end of the day, people that come and recover your system or kind of fix your system. So you need to have, the more automation you have, the more specialized you need to be able to understand how it works. It seems obvious, right? But it's an interesting paradox, and it's becoming even more obvious now, where you have like companies that, you can prompt an app and it builds everything for you. But then at the end of the day, and I've worked with, actually, I recently wrote an article about that because I've been testing many of those, and it works well, for your most lovable product kind of stuff. But as soon as, your users grow from, 100 to 1,000, 10,000, or especially a million, then you need to do a lot of changes, right? And AI is not going to, at least not at the moment, is not able to do that in a way that is smooth, that is predictable, that makes sense, right? So
we are still in this situation where the AI is still more guessing, trying out, figuring out. It can do very fast this approach, but we are missing like the training data. We are missing like the experience that a good AI really is able to do it in the first try in a good way.
Yeah, that's also, I mean, if you want to be a crude app, it's fine. Like, it's super easy, right? But as soon as you do something a little bit atypical, there's so many ways of building things. I mean, I've built systems for 20 years. None of them were similar, nothing alike, right? They were all completely different. There's some principle, right? So you have like, event driven, you have like asynchronous workers, you have this kind of patterns. But then the implementation details are so specific to the context of, or the business, priorities or something like that. So the AI system needs to basically make an assumption about what you want to do. It's going to select defaults, and that's something that, is going to be a problem for what we called before your adaptive capacity, because the more defaults you have, the harder it is to change the system or to understand where the limits of that system is. So like, you're going to need even more knowledge now. So there's a concept called meta operator, which again is something I've been exploring and playing with, actually, which you use then AI to operate on AI systems, like to make this kind of decision and kind of, but again, it's like, you need to have potentially an agent that is looking at, okay, make a decision based on cost, make a decision based on scalability, on availability. Yes. So you have like all those agents kind of working,
against each other, maybe.
And then somebody needs to be a compromise. So it's super interesting, but like, it's difficult because none of these systems are deterministic, right? So the context changes just slightly, and then it might make completely different decision, right? So that's for regulations, for engineers, it's tough to handle, right? Because we want to understand why a decision was made, and then being able to make sure it's done multiple times, especially for regulation. Like, imagine you have like a disaster recovery system. The AI agent decides, well, I'm going to make the disaster recovery now because it's been seeing a pattern somewhere. And then, okay, you say, okay, that's great. And then another situation, you say, no, I don't do it. And then it's like, okay, why? That's why it's going to be interesting. All the questions are going to be surfacing.